Hello. So I rewatched my stream from yesterday. I need to speak more clearly. So here we go. It might sound sarcastic. It's not sarcastic. It's just me trying to speak more clearly. So three topics for today: shadow fighting, a few inconsequentials, and the person of Jesus. Okay, 5 minutes apiece. If you want to skip the religious part, just stop at 10 minutes. Okay. So shadow fighting. Apparently, Trump is attacking Obama for attacking him for the Russian stuff. I'm gonna note that this has pushed the Epstein stuff out of the limelight of the news, which is intentional. If Trump doesn't want the Epstein list released, which is true, and Obama doesn't want it to released, which is true, if Obama had a lot of influence over the Biden campaign administration, which he did, that means that they're fighting at a time when neither side wants the previous story to be in the news. If you believe any of this stuff right now is real, you might you need to check your propaganda center. It is obviously a fake story. Nobody's going to prison. Trump's not going to prison. Obama's not going to prison. I think we're almost at like a new equilibrium as far as politics goes. Because people in the Trump administration, they see the nutsos people in the right wing or the anti-Semites. Like Trump doesn't like these people. Trump loves his country. He loves fighting. He loves his children, and his children, his daughter's Jewish, so he's not going to like the far right people that are blaming everything on Jewish people. And on Obama's side, he obviously, pretty clearly, actually, does not like the extremists on his side. He thinks they're wacky as hell. He doesn't like them. He clearly doesn't like the far left of his own party. They love him. He does not like them. That's also pretty obvious. So people were saying for a while, and I kind of believed it for a while, that America was headed towards civil war. I think that's dodged. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that I think that things are kind of calming down because most people are like me or like you or whatever else. And yeah, we know that there needs to be drastic revolutionary change in the country and the world economy. Yeah, that's true. It's not going to be from I don't want it from these far right people. I don't want it from these far left people. There's got to be something else, but it's not going to be this. So they're basically, it seems to me like they're working together on burying the Epstein case. And it's successful, by the way. Helped along, of course, by the fact that um, the YouTube Intelligenista is kind of suggesting that there might be a good reason why this list isn't being released, and they're being generally successful. In kind of tamping it down. I'm talking people like Six Hexenhammer, Michael Knowles, different people who you're like, yeah, they're like, yeah, we want the list, but we're not going to get it, so let's not blow everything up, which is a fair argument to make. Um, I want it to be released just because I don't want people to have power that I don't see. Visible power doesn't bother me. That's how the world works. People have power. I just want to know who has that power. Because ultimately, if you know who somebody who has power, they can be held accountable. If you don't know who they are, they can't be held accountable. So that's why I want it to be released. But it's not going to be because people don't want to be held accountable. Which, yeah, that's why they have more power than me. Next topic is going to be inconsequential. There's been a few stories that don't matter. Colbert, he's leaving the Daily. He's leaving his show in a year. That's not sudden. I'm sorry if you have like some authoritarian who's kicking somebody off the airways because they're being too dangerous. Yeah, they don't wait a year. Do you think Putin waits a year if there's some reporter who or some comedian who is giving him crap? No. Oh God, will somebody be rid of me of that wretched priest? Yeah. We got it. Okay, when? What about 11 months from now? Does that work for you? What? If you really think that that's a sign of Trump controlling everything, nobody waits a year. If you're cracking down on somebody for being troublesome, first of all, nobody waits a year, and two, nobody attacks somebody who nobody's watching anyway. Now, if Trump went after well, yeah, the left is really missing leaders right now. If Trump went after Jon Stewart, that might be a bigger issue. Knocked him off of YouTube or whatever. Or Trump went after I guess Obama would be an example. That would be a problem. Which is why I'm really hoping and right that it's all been a bunch of nothing. Or who's an actual like personality on the left right now who's actually got influence and isn't falling apart? It was gonna be Destiny, but Destiny kind of self-destructed. Um, you guys are really short on people right now. I really should know what names they have. It's like I know a bunch of entities like New York Times or Washington Post or Hollywood, but like I don't know any specific people who are actually forces on the left right now. Mamdani, I guess, is the closest thing you can get to an actual leader. He just anyway, that's who you would go after. You don't Colbert. Who watches Colbert? Like he's he's fine, I guess. He's somewhat funny, I guess. I mean, who watches late night TV now? Like, don't most people go on YouTube now? Isn't that where people get their entertainment? Yeah, it's the old people who are watching, I guess, because they can't sleep. But again, that's not like a powerful group, so it doesn't matter. It does not matter. Candace Owens is being sued. Honestly, screw Candace Owens. Every single thing she says ends up being embarrassing to the right. I completely understand why the Daily Wire canned her. She's gone nutso. She's just gone off the deep end with conspiracy theories and stuff. Same thing with Tucker. I was mad that Tucker got kicked off of Fox News. I get why they did it. These people, it's like they're news organizations. I get why you don't want them. And like interviewing the leader of Iran and then Russia, and then I guess your job is Tucker's to interview people, but like his takes have been really, really bad for a little while. I don't know if he's on an echo chamber or something. Is that the issue? It's funny. People say Trump is in an echo chamber, and he's not. He actually changes what he says on a daily basis based on what will make him more popular, help some argument or something. He's obviously like crafting a message to get things done in the way he wants it to get done. I don't see that with Candace or with Tucker or a lot of these other people. Dave Smith, I do see it actually. He does change what he says to meet the needs, which actually credit to Dave Smith for that. But yeah, so that's another inconsequential. Physics is broken, in case you didn't know. There's been some basically there's two different ways of calculating the cosmological constant, and they don't agree. And the difference is that the disagreements between the two measurements have expanded in time. So physics is broken beyond repair. Probably because they don't have anybody actually smart and everybody just a group thinker. That's the issue with having everybody go through PhDs, is that you basically eliminate anybody who might have an original idea. And yeah, I know you can't just get random idiots saying stuff and then being believed, but you need some like free thinking. And the way this education system works is that just gets shot to hell. Um, Partly because, well, so do I want to go there? I don't. But if you're kind of imagining where I wouldn't go, that's kind of where I'm going at. Um, other inconsequentials. No, it's even with the inconsequentials. There's been like, nothing happening. Oh, yeah, that's the other one. Hunter Biden went on a speech. Another example. The Democrats don't want the Epstein list released either. So it's another big distraction. You're being distracted from the Epstein list, which I think should be distracted from, just so you know what's happening. So anyway, stuff that does matter, Jesus. So I went to Bible study today because I wanted to check out a Catholic Bible study. Oh, that's not true. I am single, so well, I'm somewhat single. I don't know what I am. I have several close female friends who I have situationships with. That being said, none of it's physical or anything. So, of course, where do people meet people? In church. So I went to a Bible study. And beforehand, there's adoration. Nothing happened in meeting anybody, but it was still a decent Bible study. A bit too led by the priest, but that's a Catholic thing. So, anyway, I was kind of thinking when I was sitting in adoration, I'm like, okay, we do the whole worship thing for Jesus, where we worship Him. God is good all the time. And oh, yada. We say how glory to God in the highest, all that. But then we also know that Jesus was basically going around in his 3 years of ministry. 3 years, not that long. He's basically just traveling around the Israeli countryside with 12 fishermen, 10, 9 fishermen, and a couple other jobs. He's a bro. He's just kind of like going around, eating food that he finds, staying with different people, partying it up. Not partying it up, but like he's obviously just like chilling. Like he's obviously you get the idea in the Gospels that Jesus is a vibe. That way he is chilling. He is a fun person to hang out with. He's a righteous dude. So the question we have is that everybody says, "Oh, we could being Christian is about having a relationship with Jesus." I don't worship my friends. I also don't vibe a with the governor of Maryland. I don't chill with high people. I don't vibe. Who is this Jesus we're worshiping? Like we're supposed to be identifying a relationship with a person. We don't know with this person. We act wildly different ways based on context and environment and stuff. Like I always act the same way with Faith, my friend Faith. I always act the same with Melissa or with Chris or my brother. I don't act different ways. I act one way with one person. That's what I do. That's what most of us do if we're not psychopaths. Is we act generally consistent to different people. And people are like, "Oh, you act differently in different contexts." Sort of, not really. Like, yeah, somewhat similar in different situations. I would hope, unless you're totally good at masking yourself, which is actually a bad thing. So it's weird that we have this God man, Jesus, who we have wildly different ways of interacting with. And that's interesting, right? Um, I don't know what that voice says. I do think that it tells us to be less definitive about whether we know how well we know God. Like to imagine that you know God personally. It's like, that's a rough one. That's a really rough one. No, I think he knows us. That is true. You can say he knows me. Okay. I believe God knows me because I'm not that complicated. But to claim that I know God is such an absurd thing to think or to say. And yet people say it all the time. That's, I think, my biggest gripe with modern Christianity, especially the Protestant sort, is the idea that we know God. It's like, no, you don't. That is an absurdly bad take to have. Now you might have experienced God, like not to go political again, but like I've met Trump. He is an opposing guy. Do I think I know him? No. But like he's a forceful personality, right? You can just sense the aura coming off of him. And God's infinitely more than a random guy. Um, so maybe you experience God, but do you think you know him in this brain that's finite? No, you don't. That is an absurd. I would almost say I would almost say it's heresy. Now I think maybe a few people have, like Moses, Elijah, Saint Peter. And maybe that there's been 100 people in the history of mankind who's known God. I think that's fair. Nobody 100 people. I can see that. But everybody, everybody who says it, no, no, I don't think that's actually true. And we should try to tell the truth with respect to God. Other areas, meh. Anyway, um, just my viewpoint on God, which is worth nothing because I know nothing and I'm not even a good person. Anyway, cheers and have a good night.